Okay, welcome everybody, and welcome to posing panel 301, Poof Pants in Photography. I'm so happy to be back, I suppose. Yay. Let's get right into it. Quick introductions about me. I'm Plentiful Pie. These are my qualifications, why I'm running this panel. First, I'm actually too scared to go outside on Halloween, scary stuff outside. As you learned last night, I'm actually really bad with horror and stuff, so this is perfect. I get to stay inside. Next thing is I have an Instagram. It is at Plentiful Pie. Also, thank you for 1,000 followers. We broke that last time. Yay, thank you. Thank you. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing. Okay? Absolutely nothing, but thank you anyways. And as you know, if you have an Instagram, you're already an Instagram model. So that's how I'm qualified. Next thing is number 3. This is now my third rodeo because God has cursed me for my hubris and my work is never finished. If you got that joke, bless you, bless BDG. But that also means you can watch the previous rodeo on YouTube. Posing Panel 201 is on YouTube. Just just search on YouTube J Fashion On Demand and Bay Area Kei. I'm actually going to drop the channel link right there. You can also subscribe to Bay Area Kei. We'll be uploading the panels from this time on there as well. So if you want to catch up on the panels, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Cool. No questions? Cool. Great. Those are my qualifications. For today, this is what we're going to be going over. First, I'll talk about posing with Poof or a dress. Let me full screen this. Next, I'll talk about posing with pants. Next, I'll talk a little bit about photography. This is a really popular topic. Every posing panel I get asked, like, how do I take a good photo? So I'll give you some tips, some things to think about as you're taking photos. And then lastly, I'll leave some time for Q&A. I didn't have a lot of Q&A time last time, so I'm hoping to have a little bit more time this time. Okay. Cool. So let's get to it, but first, quick disclaimer. I'm going to be using terms like masculine or feminine. That's just, from what I've observed in most photos. Anybody can pose however you want. I'm just using those terms as a term of comparison. This is 301, is a graduate course, so we'll go in a little bit into comparative studies. So I'll be using those terms, but to be honest, you can dress however you want, pose however you want. And also, most of these things that I'm going to be saying is just my personal opinions. There will be other ways to pose, maybe other ways to approach posing out there. So everything I say is just my opinion. For my goal, it's just I want to have everybody pose better. And you still choose to pose poorly, that's on you. So, disclaimer done. Cool. Great. So, let's get right into it. First we have Poof. So first I'll talk a little bit about traditional feminine poses, and then a little bit about how that's different from J fashion poses, and then also some different poses, some recommendations about different skirt length. So it could change a little bit about how you pose. So for traditional feminine styling posing, the emphasis is always usually on the chest or on the butt. Sometimes the legs. This is why sometimes you see some people recommend going to really, really low angle up, and that is to make your legs look longer. So that's the emphasis there. Yes, the butt. So for those, the line is typically an S line. When I say a line, is that when you make a pose, you want to imagine drawing a line from your head to your feet, and that should be one smooth line. And for feminine posing is usually an S line because you want to emphasize the curves. And to do that, what you can do is you want to lift up. So you want to lift up a little bit, and then also kind of pushing out your chest a little bit. So that will emphasize your chest area A lot of people say, like suck in their stomach, but when people do that, actually what they're doing is like crunching their shoulders. So they're like this, which is not a very good look. So you want to think like more about lifting up and pushing out your chest area. In terms of your butt, if you want to emphasize that, I wouldn't say like to like push it up, because then sometimes you can't see it here, but sometimes it makes like kind of like a curve, like a little like bowl shape in your back, and I don't think that looks super good. So for that, that's why people wear like heels, because it emphasizes their butt naturally. If you're not wearing heels, you could always just kind of like you can see like kind of just like push off from your being on the ball of your foot, and then just like pushing up a little bit. But I wouldn't like push your butt out on purpose, because it's gonna look like it's on purpose. Another thing is you want your shoulders usually down, or sometimes like even back, so that you have more of a contrast between the chest. So these are some typical poses I see. They put their hands on their hips. I say hips because you don't actually want to put them on your hips. So this is where my natural hip bone is. And if I put my hands here, it actually makes me look really short. I already have short legs, and this makes me look even shorter, because this is where my legs begin. So a little bit better would be putting it on the natural waist, so basically the smallest parts of your body. So that's a little bit here. That's a little bit better. Also, it emphasizes the smallest parts of your body, so that's very flattering. But I don't know. I have short legs, so this still doesn't look quite right to me. So what I recommend, this is like free advice, okay? Put it like right underneath your rib cage. So wherever your rib cage ends, the last rib, put your hands like there. So all of a sudden, from here to my feet, that's how long my legs are, right? So compared to here to here. So I just got like 6 inches more leg, like that. So if you're posing for something and you want to emphasize your legs, I would recommend putting your hands on your hips, which is actually bottom of your ribcage, right here. Yes, long. Oh god, I can't say long legs. There you go. There's also the T-pose, which I see a lot. I guess it came from like the pageantry, where they do this. They put the heel into the middle of the other foot like this, and it's supposed to make you look taller. Which does, it also emphasizes your legs. It lets you push out and put your right here, which looks nice. But definitely later on for J fashion, this is not recommended. It makes you. Yeah, it just doesn't work with the dress. For other dresses, for other outfits like pants, looks great. For J fashion, I really don't like the T-pose, the feet T-pose with it. Yeah, making the T shape, yeah, I really don't like that for J fashion posing. For other posing though, great. Next one is just the cover model T-pose, like this T-pose. No. Stop. Next one is just like the cover model. So like imagine like the cover of Vogue magazine, and like they're all like kind of scrunched in and like just giving it to the camera. That kind of pose. And what that does is just emphasizing that S shape, making your body as curvy as possible. So you want like a pose that's like, oh my god, is she like a model or something? Here's what you can do. You put one hand, put it right under your boob, like right under your chest, and like kind of like scrunch it in. Take the other, put it on kind of like rib cage, like right underneath your rib cage, your hip, right? And then just like kind of compress yourself, and then just like look up, and like people like, yeah, it's a great pose, and like gives you all of the curves right there. Yeah, and like if you imagine like just having like wind blown at you, like, yeah, like killer move. Modeling school, drama, super dramatic. Okay. So that's kind of the traditional feminine posing. For J fashion though, the focus is more on being cute and being whimsical and almost like elegant for some of the styles. So the emphasis is a little bit different. So for that, for the shoulders, sometimes in like high, like Sometimes in like some fashion magazines they do like the crunch shoulders or like have it like really back. For J fashion, most of it is just like gonna be relaxed. So to get your relaxed shoulders, I would just say, you know, breathe in and breathe out, and wherever your shoulders naturally sit, that's where they're gonna be. Sometimes I see them slightly scrunched. That's for like if you want to make it like a cute, more of a cute look. So like from here, this is my shoulders being natural, and then just like scrunching a little bit and turning a little bit. That would be really cute too. So, but it's just a really slight, like maybe like an inch kind of scrunch, not like super in. The tendency for that is that people start to collapse everything, and their head goes forward too. So it's just from here and just like slight, and they can turn away from the camera and then tilt, and that looks like a really shy, cute pose. Yes, very, 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 very slight, like an inch of scrunch. Also, for J fashion, a lot of times because of the dress length, you want to keep your knees together. I feel like this is usually very flattering. It doesn't mean that they have to be like glued, but when I say knees together, it could be like overlapping, that's together, or like to the side, or like even a little bit back. But as long as they're kind of touching, I feel like that's usually, not all the time, usually a better look. And one last thing is, you always have you have a very pretty dress, and for Lolita fashion, you always have that poof. And so what your pose wants, when you do your pose, you want to emphasize that that poof, like show off the dress. So here are some dress lengths. I have cupcake, A-line, and T-length. So these are just some recommendations for each one. For cupcake shape, I don't have a cupcake shape right now, but for that, you want to emphasize that round cupcake poof. I would try to keep your elbows in, so elbows in here, okay? And then, do your posing here. So a really easy one is just take it out, and then, so my elbows are here. I can put the dress up and then just put the hands slightly in front and then tilt a little bit. And that would be really cute with a cupcake shape dress. But having the elbows in, or even if you're carrying a bag, you can keep your elbows in here. So let's say I have a bag here. I can carry it here instead of out here, because this way I'm emphasizing my waist and also the poof of the dress. For the legs, the one leg back is really popular for that. So like a sweet one, so one leg back, so together, and then one leg back, or the other way if you want to, or the cross legs, like just crossed here, would be fine. So you can do this way, would be good, or the one leg back. Okay, but for all of these, my elbows are pretty much in for here. So those are just popular J fashion poses. Yes, hello Eric, thank you. Thanks for stopping by. Next is an A-line dress. So for an A-line, you don't necessarily, it's still on kind of on your natural waist, but the poof is not so like high up. It's a little bit flatter. So for that, you can have your arms a little bit straighter as well, a little bit lower down instead of like maybe up here for the cupcake dresses. But you can still do the exact same poses. You can do the same thing for here. Maybe don't lift it as much, just a very slight lift. But you can see my arms can be a little bit straighter here, and kind of pose around here or here. That's a common one, like across the waist, for that. But your arms can be a little bit straighter down for that. If you have a high-waisted dress, those tend to be like, your baby doll cuts. Those are really cute actually with a slight pigeon toe. When I say pigeon toe, like don't go all the way, just a very slight one. And to add variation, I would say put one foot a little bit in front of the other. That would be good. So here I could lean towards that one or lean away from that one. But I like to kind of have a more variation than just like the standard pigeon toe, which is okay, but kind of boring, in my opinion. So I like to stagger them if you're going to do a pigeon toe pose. For natural waist, which is what I have now, the one pointed leg is really good too. Pointed leg. I think it's just like back one or like in front. So you can do it back, or you can you can do it pointed in front too. That looks really elegant. One thing with the pointed one is I talked about a line before, so it still applies. If I'm going to point my leg here, I can't really see it. Okay, there you go. If I'm going to point it here, that's where my line is going. So I want to imagine from my head to my toe. That's my line, and you want to enhance that. So maybe that's like to lean towards that leg, and then do it so that you can kind of see there's a clear line from my head to my toe. Maybe like head back a little bit. So that's a clear line when you're posing. A lot of times people have like good poses, but it seems like a little bit off. Is because they're not forming a clear line. So if you're going to do that pointed leg, make sure the focus, the emphasis, everything kind of points towards that toe if that's what you're going for. Pigeons. I hope everyone's doing okay in the chat. I will have time for questions later, I believe. Okay. Next one is T length. For T length, you have a lot of options for arm variations. Sometimes I see the very plain T length dresses, so that's a perfect area for you, like to put your hands, maybe together, or one in front of the other, or like even like crossed or something. So you have a lot of space to work with when you have a T length dress, and usually that's good because you want to kind of, if it's a solid piece, you want to break it up a little bit. Do a twirl. Maybe later. Yeah. For T length though, one thing that I think would look really good, and I've made this mistake before because I don't wear T length very often, is just to have both feet visible. Because dress is very long, and sometimes maybe it's just the wrong camera, or maybe just the foot placement, you don't see both legs, and I think it looks kind of weird. So whatever you do for T-length dresses, if it's a cross, make sure that when you're crossing, you can see both legs. Some people do this, and like it loses out on the back leg. So if you're gonna cross them, make sure you have a tighter cross so that you can see both feet. Or if you're gonna do this, something, yeah, I would do this so that you can see both feet. Whatever it is, make sure that both legs are visible. And again, even though it's T-length and you can't see your knees, you want to still keep your knees relatively close together. So here, yeah, this would be okay. I see sometimes like kind of too wide, and it kills the length. Because that T-length is so elegant and long, you want to keep your feet closer together to emphasize that flowiness. So I would keep the legs a little bit closer together. Yeah, I know, Petite Madeline, yeah, I definitely have some bad poses, so I don't fault you for that, but hey, it's always a practice, a learning process. I'm sorry, I need to drink. Okay. So yeah, next thing, we're gonna go into pants. This is the next section. Yeah, we all need to drink. Yes, I hope everyone's having a fun time so far, and staying hydrated. That would be really important. So I hope everyone is staying hydrated and all that. And before you realize what I'm doing, okay, all right, here you go. All right, and go. Zup. Magical. Is it still okay? Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, someone clip that. Oh man, yeah. Okay, cool. Are we done marvelousing on this? Quick change. Yes. Okay. Classic. Yes. So now I have pants. So let's talk about pants. Uh, so we'll talk about masculine poses, J, and then compare them to like J fashion poses, and then I'll talk a little bit about poses by pants length. So traditional male posing, the emphasis is on the chest because most masculine figures are kind of top heavy, kind of have that triangle shape. Like I got this triangle right here. So what to emphasize the chest is a little bit different from the feminine side. You want to think like opening up your chest. So not like just like not like when people like breathe in and like hold it. Because what happens is they also crunch up their shoulders. So they also bring their shoulders up. So what I think is like just like opening. So think like from here and like opening your chest. So that will make your chest little bit has more emphasis and also gives you like better confidence. So I'm gonna try to do that now. So this is me without doing anything, and this is just me kind of opening up from this part a little bit. So I'm not really pushing out my chest. I'm just trying to like open it and make this as wide as possible. So I'm gonna stay like this. Yeah, for male posing is always a very, as opposed to like the curvy lines, is like a straight and clean line, very straight lines, very clean, sharp angles with the legs, with the arms. So that's what gives that classic masculine look. So one easy thing would be like, you know, they always put, I don't have pockets. I'll talk about how to work with that later. But you know, like they have their hands in their pockets. Again, very straight line, so very straight down. Hands in their pockets, that's a really common one. There's the teenage heartthrob. Like, you think of like boy bands and they always like put their hand behind their back and like ruffle their hair and it's like, oh, I just woke up, that kind of thing. You know? Like, oh, excuse me, did I do that? Did I just wake up in your bed all of a sudden? You know, that kind of look. Again, you know, you have that like sharp arm. So it's not like, you know, they'll try to make it rounded. They make it like pretty sharp, and that's okay. And then the Dwayne Johnson. I don't know if there was a meme about him a little bit way back where he has the same pose every time. And what he does is like he fixes his couplings. So, you know, take your like left hand and like just, I don't have a jacket. I could put on the jacket back. I'll put it on later. He fixes his cufflinks, so like this, and then he'll just be here like this, and then just like look off to the side. So he poses like this like every time. Again, it's the sharp angles of the arms that I'm trying to, or like he's like walking, right? So again, it's the sharp angles of the arms that, you know, really makes the look. Yeah, right there. If it ain't broke, yeah, don't fix it, right? So that move works for him. It looks great with like suits, you know, like if you have an actual one. So yeah, you know, right here. Or sometimes like guys have that like rubbing the palm kind of thing, right? That also works as well. But that's enough for traditional ones. Let's talk about J fashion ones. In my opinion, the focus for J fashion poses with pants is more about cute, but also confident. So it could be, you know, if it's like think like Bishonen, you know, like the pretty boy stereotypes. You know, it could be like they're like the shy one, you know, or they are the cool one, or they are the strong one, they are the flirty one. But whatever it is, they're always like confidence. They when they pose, when they do anything, they're confident in what they're doing. So whatever stereotype, whatever Bishonen type you want to go for, it's all about being confident. For that, for male posing, if you're not familiar with posing, I would always use your pockets or your belt loops. So this silhouette doesn't have pockets, but what I can do is I can still put my hands by the belt loops. So I have like this belt here, so I could still put it here. I could still do a lot of, you know, poses that way by putting my thumb through the belt loops. Okay, and if you're really nervous, you can always just put your hands in your pockets, so you don't have to worry about them. because I think most people are worried about their hands. So if you have pockets, use them. If you don't have pockets, use your belt loops, you know, put it through, or just pretend to put them there. Which brings me to my next point, is if you can do this, if you can keep a closed fist, so closed fist meaning like your thumb by right here, do not put it here, by right here. If you can do this with both hands, you can put this like anywhere on your body and you will still look fine. So even there, if there's nothing there. So I can put this here, still looks fine. I can put this here, still looks fine. I can put it here, still looks fine. So if you can keep your fist closed, you can put it almost anywhere on your body and it'll still work. I forgot for the feminine side, if you're going for a more feminine hand styling and you don't know what to do with your hands, a quick trick I do is, I mentioned this last time, is imagine you're holding a pen and then just take the pen away. And then this is kind of your feminine hand styling. What this does is like it lets your fingers fall naturally to show off your beautiful fingers. But also you have this kind of knuckle area. And you can use this like when people do the poses by their face, they do this, right? So that allows you to do that instead of just having a fist, like the finger, right? So if you hold a pen, take it away, and then just keeping this, and then you can put it by your face. That looks a little bit more natural and a little bit better than just having a fist. If you're going for male styling, keeping closed fist, and you can put this like anywhere on your body. You can put it up here, up here. You can switch it up, you know, one high, one low, you know, for variation. You can put this anywhere on your body. So also check your feet direction. So to look really sharp when posing with pants, it really has to do with where your feet are pointing. So for example, if let's say I just want to pose, so I want to make sure that my feet are, you know, my knee and my feet are pointed wherever I want them, and then I can have the pose, right? So check where your feet are pointing. I'll go a little bit more into that later. But, you know, if you're going to point directly at the camera, you know, like you have this kind of pose, right? You want to work towards the camera because that front foot is going towards the camera and that is where your point of interest is. So make sure you're checking where your feet are pointing because that's how you're going to make a strong line. So these are some poses just from the pant length. First, for like shorts, these are not technically shorts. I'm thinking of those like pumpkin shorts is what I'm thinking of. Oh my god, I have a pocket. Oh, the pockets are just down here. Let's just do that. This looks great. I have pockets. I have pockets, guys. They're right here. I've got pockets. Bless you, Meta. Meta, bless. Bless. Pockets right here. Yeah, just put your hands in your pockets. This works. This works fine. You're just down here. Pockets, yeah. I thought I had no pockets, but they're just down here. Yeah, so for pumpkin shorts, those like really short shorts, like pumpkin shorts, think of those more like dresses when you're posing. So definitely keep your feet together, keep your knees together, so that you emphasize that pumpkin shape of your pants. For that, you can also do a slight pop leg. So what that is let's say you have your feet together a bit, and then you pop one leg a little bit. Okay, so that is the slight pop leg. Again, checking where your feet are, I would put it maybe like a little bit here, right? So I'm putting quite a little bit of pressure on the ball of my foot on this one, just so that it looks like I have a strong foot position towards there. So you can do the slight pop leg for that. Yeah. Next thing is knee length. So this is what I have on now. This is a salopette. One pop leg or one leg back would be good. So, you know, you can do the same like pop leg. You can also do the one leg back. So like, you know, like this is still okay, you know, or you don't have to put your knees together. You can do that as well, or you can do that as well. But make sure you know where your feet are pointing. So if it's that way, they're clearly that way. Thank you for the follow, Tough Bun. T-pose, yeah, so for knee length, T-poses kind of okay. So you can kind of do this. This is okay. Again, making sure it's really clear. Or you can do a cross leg, like that. But again, it depends on what kind of feeling you want to go for. Are you going for like a stronger pose, a shy pose, what kind of pose you're going for. So cross leg is also okay if I want to do that. This is all right. Not my favorite, but it's possible. For long pants, your pose is going to really show because the pants are so long and they have that length. So any shift in your body is going to be very obvious. So for this, you want to decide where you want your weight distribution. So if you have long pants, you want to think, do you want to be all the way on that one leg and then showing off that length of the pants? So I don't have long pants, but do you want to show off the length of the pants that way? Or do you want to be, on both legs and show off kind of the triangle shape that way? So, decide on what you want to go for. Because any shift in like your weight, if you're not sure, that's definitely going to show on the camera. So decide on what you want to focus on for that. You can also cross legs. There's the cross one. Yeah, you can do that. So that will really emphasize the length of your pants. Or you can just go this way and just be on the back foot for that. That's also fine. You can also cross this way. So this way. So putting the one of the feet over. This is why I say really check your feet position. Sometimes people may tend to do this, which looks kind of funny to me, kind of jokerish. So I would say still keep it. Oh, okay. I'll put the back foot a little bit off away from the camera, and then here. So that way, would still be good. So I can lean away from the leg, and then go that. This is still kind of. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Okay, so I can cross the legs that way as well. If you have a totally unplanned, but if you have a parasol, works great. Works great to us balance as well. It's not just for posing, but it's also great for balance. So I'm weighing a little bit on it, and I can cross my legs that way. Really good look. Or this way, or this way, I would recommend. So doing a cross leg with the parasol. For that front leg, if I'm going to be looking at the camera, I want to point my front foot towards the camera. So I'm working towards the camera. If I want to kind of look to the side, I could point it a little bit more away from the camera and look that way. So, wherever your feet are is going to really determine the look of your photo. And that's going to determine what kind of line you have. That cookie looks so tasty. So the next part is I'm just going to talk a little bit about photography and some things to focus on once you're taking photos. I'll talk about 3 things you can focus on, and then I'll talk about how those 3 things will be different for taking photos yourself, taking photos by a friend, and also by a professional photographer. So the 3 things to focus on, one is the camera angle. For J fashion, especially for dresses, you want to be level, have the camera as level as possible, and basically have it to be like straight on. My camera's on a tripod right now, so it's fairly close to straight on. It's slightly higher, but I can't do anything about that. But I want to be as level as possible. Think of like kind of your waist level. This is where you want to set your camera. So you want it to be as straight on as possible so that it doesn't cut off your legs, doesn't make you look too short, and also doesn't like peak up your skirt if it's too low. So as a straight on would be the best. For lighting, you can use natural light. There's the golden hour, just kind of before sunset where the light is really good. But one tip, thanks Emma for this, is avoid backlighting. So you don't want you don't want to stand against the light because that will be too harsh. And also you don't want to have lighting that's like straight on you because that will wash you out as well. So avoid those things. Find like a place that's has a good combination of light and also a little bit of shade so that you have a good lighting. So basically you want like your whole body to be like evenly lit. For the posing, practice a few go-to poses. So pick maybe 2 or 3 feet positions that you like. So for example, you want to practice your cross leg. So you got that, and then you also want to practice your T-pose. So let's say those are your 2 poses, and then you just want to build off of those. So if this is your T-pose, maybe you want to work on having your, this is for male posing, you want to work on having your hands here, and then you can do small variations. So maybe move one hand up, move one hand up here, you can tilt the other way, you can look more at the camera, that kind of thing. So off of 1 foot position, and then, or this one, you want to work on having it here. So you can build on small variations like just tilting your head, varying your shoulders, tilting towards the camera, away from the camera, just build on variations of one or 2 feet positions. That way you don't have to think of, tons and tons of different poses. You can T-pose. Stop T-posing. Stop T-posing. Low T-pose. Right there. So yeah, think of 1 feet position and then just build off of it. Using small variations, just moving your hand and then, you can tilt your head. You can also vary where your body is pointing. So like like away from the camera, and so on. Straight on and all that. So if you are taking pictures by yourself, please get a tripod. My camera is now on a tripod. I can't show you. Also, figure out some way to get a remote shutter. So like a button that you can press to trigger the photo. That way you don't have to run back and forth between you and your camera. And also with the tripod, you can set it at the same height like every time. So once you figure out what's the best height, you can just set it there. Set it at kind of your waist level. For lighting, if you can, set up a photo spot in your home. So I don't really have a choice. This is going to be my photo spot. But usually I go outside, like in the front yard for a quick picture. But, figure out, a cute place for you to take photos, and maybe that'll motivate you to take more photos as well. And for the posing, I recommend is stepping into the pose just before the shutter. So let's say you have a 3-second countdown. You want to get into your pose at around 2 or maybe even 1 once you get really good at it. The reason for that is the longer you hold a pose, the more unnatural it's going to look because you're tensing up all of your muscles to hold that pose. So you want to do your pose just right before you take the picture for the more natural look. So it looks like you're in motion almost. So yeah, don't hold a pose for too long. If you really want to have a specific pose, just relax your body, deep breath, and then, try it again. But that is something that you really want to practice, is stepping into a pose right before it. So let's say, I have a camera and I'll say 3, 2, 1, click for that. So I'll get right into it. Yeah, running back and forth is good exercise. Yes, but I don't want to sweat anymore in my outfit. Yeah, and also some phones now have that yelling feature. You could yell at it to take a photo, but then you would mess up your mouth. So I don't know how that works. Okay. And then for others, so let's say you have your friend or your significant other, or just anyone who's not a professional photographer, but you somehow rope them in to take your picture. First of all, thank them a lot. Thank them for their service. And here are some things that you want to tell them, is to have them hold the camera to their waist level. A lot of times someone might be a little bit taller and they will hold the camera right here. That is definitely not going to give you that straight on effect. So tell them, to like lower the camera like this. They can hold it out here. That's fine. If you have a really dedicated friend, you can tell them to squat like this, right, to get the shot. So this would be the perfect position to take the photo. If they want to. If they can't, then have them lower the camera as much as possible. Also specify the type of shot you want from them. So, tell them, hey, I want like a full body shot, and I want, maybe kind of this much space, this much space around. Or you can tell them, I want a portrait, I want it to be from the waist up, or I want like a detail shot. Be specific about what kind of shots you want so that they have an idea of what they're taking pictures of. Yes, squatting is good. Power squat, yes. For lighting, I would say take a few test shots first. So either have your friend stand there and let you take a test shot of them, or tell your friend to take a few test shots, and then check them first to make sure that the lighting is good and there are no weird shadows, because that's something that they may not pay attention to, they may not notice. So take a few test shots, check them and say, okay, let's then take the shots. In terms of posing, if your phone doesn't have that loud clicking noise, I know some phones have that loud clicking noise when they take a photo, but if it doesn't, ask your friend for a countdown. So you say 3, 2, 1, or when they take a picture, they can say like click or something like that. This is really useful for me because, like I said, you want to practice stepping into the pose. So that's how you know when you're gonna step into the pose, instead of you just holding there forever and not knowing when they're taking the picture. Also, after click, that's how I know I can move on to my next pose. So like I said, you want to build on small variations. So after they say, let's say I have a pose here, right? After they say 3, 2, 1, click, and then I move it to the next pose, and then they keep going, right? So they do a few rounds of 3, 2, 1, click, 3, 2, 1, click, and then after each click, you can vary slightly, right? You can vary your movement slightly and get more photos. Also, this is something you probably have to check yourself. Checking your headwear, check your accessories. Oh, I forgot my, just gonna clip this here. Boop, there you go. Check your headwear, check your accessories, check your clothes for adjustments, because your friend may not, check for your petticoats, make sure it's not peeking out, because that's something that your friend may not, be trained to notice, or a non-professional photographer may not notice about these small quirks. So, checking to make sure your wig is all okay. That's something you might have to check yourself before you take the photo. So, you can go from like bottom up, so like, is my head okay? My accessories are not flipped, my wig is fine, and then take the photo. Yeah. Yeah, I know, the petty thing. Next thing is, how much time do I have? Okay, I'm still good. If you're working with a professional photographer, before that, if you have the chance, I know right now it's very difficult, but if you have the chance, I definitely recommend checking out taking shots with a professional photographer, because it's going to change so many things. You're going to be noticing so many things. One thing is, for the camera angle, they usually know what they're doing, but again, specify what you want to highlight. So if it's like an accessory or some feature of the dress that you want to highlight, tell the photographer that this is what you want to highlight, and they'll do their best to do that. For lighting, trust the photographer for suggestions. Sometimes they'll say, turn your head this way a little bit, or do those minor adjustments. They know what they're doing, so I would just trust them and go with them, because because they are the ones that are they are the ones who are seeing the camera, and they can offer really interesting suggestions sometimes. And in terms of the posing, let the photographer know before you want to do something like very dynamic. So like if you want to do like a leg up or something, I'm not in a dress, it's gonna look like kind of weird. But let's say like this is one of my poses where you have like a one leg up and kind of thing, and it's something that you can't hold for a long time. Let the photographer know beforehand. Butler pose, yes, butler pose, right? Let the photographer know beforehand that I'm trying to do this pose, and they'll try their best to accommodate, or like a jumping pose or things like that. Also, let the photographer, sometimes photographers have like a great idea, like I have this great idea, let's do this, let's do that, go with it and switch things up and have fun. Maybe it's not something that you do traditionally, but you have the chance to go out and just do different things and have fun with it. You might get to see different sides of yourself and also get to see different poses that work well. So yeah, go have fun with it. Final thoughts. Just a few final things. Practice. Practice makes perfect. Just take more photos. I mean, phones are everywhere now, and storage is not limited, so you can take as many photos as you want. And if you don't like them, you can always just delete them. Also, one thing is not everyone has access to this, but try to use a full-length mirror. Even though you're just practicing, let's say, portraits, even when you're taking a portrait, what you're doing with your legs and the lower half of your body is still really important, because that influences how you look in your portrait. So practice with a full-length mirror with your poses. If you have access to that, that would be great for that. Vary one body parts at a time. So just change one thing at a time. If it's like a head tilt or your shoulders or where your hands are, you don't need to try to move both hands. Like a lot of people try to move both hands, try to change it up every single time. You don't have to do that. You can just move one hand here and then just move one hand here and then switch. You can move just one hand at a time, or just one part at a time. And last thing is have fun. Use your imagination. When I had the chance, I would pose people for photos, and I would usually make up some ridiculous story. Like, imagine you are a child who just discovered this magical door that leads to a brand new, wonderful world of fairies and goblins, and you're just so amazed at all the different things in there. And all they were doing was just that kind of thing. But yeah, use your imagination, think of what is your situation, have fun with it, because it's going to, thank you for the follow, because it's going to give that story to your photo. I know it's just like J Fashion, you're just taking a photo, but for me, a good photo gives you a special feeling. If it's a creepy, warm, cool, oh, they look so cool, or confidence, or they're shy, it gives you a feeling. And really, really good photos will tell you an entire story, right? There's a reason why they say a photo is worth 1,000 words, is because one photo can tell an entire story just from one pose, just from one way that they're looking, one way that they're posing can tell you a lot. So yeah, use your imagination. That's why I say those ridiculous things. Also, it relaxes the person. They will tend to smile naturally. That's why I say all those ridiculous situations. Or imagine you're so, a creepy pose. Imagine you're so hungry, you want KFC, but the closest one is closed, and you really, really just want to have some fried chicken, and all that. So use your imagination for that. Next thing is play with the environment. If you have props or something, or if you're in a park and there's flowers and trees, play with it, use it, interact with your environment, take advantage of it. It will definitely give you more different poses. And the last thing is remember to breathe. The more you tense up, the more unnatural it's gonna look. So, once in a while, after a few pictures, just, deep breath, relax your shoulders, and then reset. Remember to breathe with that. I'm gonna remember to breathe because I haven't breathed in the past 20 minutes. Okay, so that's it. That's all I have. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for coming. Some of you for the third time. Don't forget to leave feedback. Right now I have 10 minutes, I believe, so I will be able to take some questions. So I'll actually sit down for this. Okay, I'll sit down for this. Some questions. What's the worst thing to do in photos? What is the terrible pose? Oh my god. Oh man, I feel bad answering this, because these are things I see on Facebook, on Instagram. For me, a terrible pose is they are trying to they're trying to emulate something, but they don't know what they're actually trying to emulate. So I'll show some examples. So for example, I see a lot of people wanting to do the hand on their dress pose, and they do like this. And like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't do anything. So for that, like you can see my hand's really big and like my wrist is broken. So for that, I would recommend thinking from your elbow to your fingers as one line. That's one straight line. Okay, and then keeping the elbow closer to you, and then just relaxing it on yourself. So that looks a little bit better than just like here, which like has the broken wrist and everything. So I would put it closer to your body, and then just relaxing it and putting it right here. So that's one pose that I don't understand really. Another one I don't really understand is like people, in a dress, they keep like T-posing. And like, or like they put their hands here like this. I don't get this. This breaks the rule of, I said, like keeping your elbows in. So if you're going to put your hands together, I would put them lower. So put your elbows in and put them a little bit lower for that. And then I don't understand the T-pose, so I would put maybe one leg back. So imagine I have a dress. This would look better as a dress. So put like one leg back, or even just like together, just putting one foot inside the middle, the toe part, inside like the middle part of the other one. Even this would look a lot better. Actually keeping it a little bit lower. So yeah, those are just common things that I see is people don't do. I'm sorry, I don't really want to I don't want to like call out people or call out like specific poses, but I realize that in Lolita fashion, it's a lot of times like it's people's first chance, like first opportunity to wear something nice, and they want a picture of it, and they have never done this before. They have never posed before for a camera to highlight their clothes. So I understand it's a lot of people's first times. So those are just a lot of the things that I see. Another thing is not having that line. This is going to be a little bit more difficult, but their legs would point in like weird directions. So let's say like pointing like this. You see how like my legs are pointing like two opposite directions, and what that means is you don't know where you're going. So either put it towards the camera or point them towards the same place, so that you have a very cohesive line for that. Questions. In posing panel 201, there is a part about portraits. So if you want to, go check that out. Go watch that. There are some close-up photos where I talk about war crimes. Yeah. JoJo poses. JoJo poses. Okay, gotta do it to them. JoJo poses. Good. Okay. Cool. Good question. Posing Academy someday. Yes, this is a graduate class. JoJo poses. Are there any other questions? I have about 5 minutes or so. I'm gonna sit. Yeah, any other questions? Oh, looking down. Oh, someone said about looking down. Actually, recently, if you look at my Instagram, I have this recent trend of like looking away from the camera or looking down. And the thing is, I feel like I don't know what kind of face to make. So looking down is totally fine. It definitely adds a different feeling to your photos. I would just be careful of how you do it. So when you're looking down, sometimes you may not actually see the thing you're supposed to be looking at. So let's say I want to look at my feet for a pose. Let's say I want to make like a really shy pose and look at my feet. I'm actually not going to be able to see my actual feet, because that would require me to like bend over, and that ruins the line. So what you do is you still pose, normally. So let's say I want like a shy pose. So I'll do like the shoulder thing. All I'm doing is just directing my eyes down. So I'm casting my eyes down, but I don't actually see what I'm supposed to be looking at. Let's say my feet. So I'm just pretending that I can see my feet. So just casting your eyes down, you don't actually have to see what you're actually trying to see, which is fine. Or like, you know, some people have like a bag and like they want to like look at the bag, but what happens is that you turn your entire head and that breaks your line sometimes. So here again, you just turn slightly and then having your eyes look towards the bag, and that's fine. So I may not see the whole bag, I may not see it like perfectly centered in my vision. I'm just giving that hints that I'm looking at the bag. And yeah, eyes is a really important thing because when people look at a photo, they do tend to draw their eyes towards where the person is looking. So yeah, looking down is perfectly fine. Just be careful, don't tilt your head too much when you're trying to look. Just pretend you're looking at the thing that you want to look at. Let's see, any other questions? I have time for a couple questions. Seated poses. Yeah, in panel 201 there were some seated poses, but since now I have pants on, let's do some poses where I get to sit. That would be cool. What's a good pose? Yeah, when you're posing with a chair, you never sit on the full seat. You just sit on half of it or even less. So if this is from the side, I'm only going to be sitting right here if you want to do seated poses. Okay, you never sit on the full thing. But yeah, now that I have pants, I can do a cool cross-leg look. One thing with the foot, for feminine posing, if you're going to cross your legs, I would recommend pointing your feet as much as possible. But for a more masculine look, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to point it kind of towards the camera and be kind of arrogant about it. So I'm going to point it towards camera as opposed to pointing, which is what I would normally use. I can do this, I can do this, do kind of different posing with the pants. Yeah. Man spread. Man spread. I mean, yeah, there's like the whole this kind of pose. But I don't think this works well for J fashion because it hides a lot of your outfit. So that's why I don't particularly like it. But yeah, you know, you can do like a cross, that's totally fine. Or if you don't want a cross, I just like the cross. I think the crossing one looks much better. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a move for if you have pants. All right. Any other questions? Staring at the past the camera works. Yeah. Posing for videography. Oh, that would be a walking panel. Yeah, I don't have room to walk in this room though. But walking is a totally different thing. Walking is a little bit different. But if you want to think about taking videos, you want to think of every move that you make should be photo perfect. So, you know, if you're walking, you know, every step that you make, if someone just takes a picture of you walking at any time, it should look great. So that's a really high standard, but that's what it is if you want to look good on a video. Every step that you make looks like a picture perfect move. I need this panel about walking. I really don't have room to walk in here. That's the problem. I don't have room to walk in here. I'll try. Let's see. How many steps can I take? I can take 2 steps. We'll find you a place. Rent a space. Yeah, so for if you have pants, for male walking, usually the weight is kind of like more back. Okay, so I'm more weighted back. Okay, and then there's not always like a spread, but it's more of a heavy like a plop. You know, like more like a plop. So that's a more masculine walk. I'll do it again. So my weight is back, my shoulders are down, chest is open, arms are relaxed. So that's a more masculine walk. Yeah, a little bit of swag. So to have that swag, you want like your arms to be kind of straight, just very small. But the main thing is just to open your chest and having that weight slightly back and like just kind of plop your leg. For more of a feminine walk, you don't. Okay, for feminine walks, you do not have to like cross your leg every time. This is what I see. You do not have to do that. Or I've seen one model, one like runway show where they like cross like this much every step. I don't understand. You do not have to do that. Okay. For that, for a more feminine walk, you know, chest up, kind of pushing your hips like down a little bit, like not have it up so much. So you want to have it like down, push up, chest out as much as possible, right? And then not crossing. Yeah. So more of a straight walk would be more feminine. Yeah. I'll follow my face. I mean, there is some truth to like they used to practice with a book on their head, and that's really true because you want to look as tall as possible and as straight as possible. So let's say if I'm walking with my hands in front, right here, chest out, hips down, right here. Right. So that also works. I think I am out of time. So thank you all very much for coming to my third posing panel. I hope that was very informative. Feel free to watch the second panel on the YouTube channel, Area Kei on YouTube, and also you can subscribe so that you can catch this panel and all the other wonderful panels on that channel as well. Thank you all very much for coming. What is the next panel? I don't remember. Someone tell me what the next panel is. DIY, yes! Oh my god, Lily is from Paradise Rose Shop is going to be doing a DIY of a Batwing headband. So that's gonna be so awesome. So yeah, thank you all very much for coming. This is my regular channel. Sometimes I play Tetris here and play games, and also sometimes I do like crafts like painting nails and stuff. So yeah, if you want to follow, and see you guys, bye!